Welcome to the Way Forward. I am Chanaka De Silva. Today on our show we have Mr. Mahendra Jayasekara, who will discuss the immediate requirement in this country of what should be put right for this country to be taken forward. Welcome to the show, Mahendra. Initially, I would like to know if you can tell me just three things. What you feel is in dire need to be put right, which will also give the fastest results. Because today I think people want to see things happen quickly. Can you just briefly tell me like three basic things that you think should be put immediately right?
Actually, number one is basically there should be discipline in the society,
Right.
Chanaka.
Okay.
And that discipline should come through implementation and enforcement of law and order.
Right.
And the legal system. One legal system will give you a disciplined society.
Right.
Number two, there should be clear economic focus.
Right.
Because I think in the past what has happened is basically our economic focus has not been really consistent. We have been very inconsistent in our economic focus and policies really. Number two is there should be a proper policy, a very focused policy on education. If you put these three things right,
Yes.
this country can be put on the right track.
Right. Very good. I think I like that order that you took.
Yeah.
Speaking of discipline,
Yes.
now from your point of view, now this is very interesting because everyone sees this in a completely different angle.
Right.
Because for some people what is a norm is actually horribly indiscipline.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What do you see are the worst cases of indiscipline today from your eyes?
No, actually, in my eyes, the whole social structure is indisciplined, really.
Right.
If you look at governance, public sector as well as private sector, then the conduct of employees, and then what we see on the roads, what you see if you go to get anything done from any public institution,
Department.
there is indiscipline really,
Right.
and there is no focus, and they don't understand what is the output we have to give for the salary we are paid.
Yes.
And that whole thing has broken down, and something has to be done to put this right.
Yes.
So that is what I call indiscipline. Actually, it is right across the fabric of this country.
Country, it's totally, I mean, discipline has broken down.
Broken down,
In
yes.
short.
Yeah.
Right. Second question is, you spoke of the economy.
Yes.
Why do you say that we must have a clear policy? Don't we have it now? What is lacking?
No, actually, what has happened in the past maybe 20-30 years, over the last 20-30 years, what has happened, Chanaka, is that our policies have not been consistent.
Right.
Right? As businessmen, as investors, people prefer bad, consistent policies to inconsistent good policies. Right?
Right.
When you have good policies that are not consistent, today you have something, then you change it tomorrow, day after you come up with another policy, then the business community is totally lost. They can't plan an investment, they can't plan business strategy, they can't do anything. But that way it is better to have bad, consistent policy. Then people know exactly what to expect really.
Right.
But in my opinion, what has happened in this country is that for the last so many years, our policies have not been consistent. You look at our trade policy, right? You look at our trade policy, what is happening to import duty cess and all that really. One day they increase it, next day they reduce it. Again they increase it, reduce it. How can we plan investment? We can't plan an investment really. And then about investment promotion policies. One day they promote one sector. Next day that sector is not promoted. It is completely ignored. Then you come up with another sector. Then again it is not promoted the next year. So tax concessions, you give one tax concession today, withdraw it tomorrow. So like that they do a lot of, government has been doing a lot of things very inconsistently. So when you have inconsistent policies, you can't do anything. Our policy should be consistent for a period of maybe 10, 15, 20 years.
20 years at least.
Then you attract investments, then investors invest money here, take a long-term view and go forward. Otherwise, what we do is basically we bring fly-by-night operators because they are very short-term oriented. They know this policy is here today, tomorrow it may not be there. So you try to make as much money as possible today with the shortest possible methods and the activities, and they vanish. That is what has happened in the country.
So it's actually a sort of a quick cash operation that is basically running.
Yes.
Yes. Then the third point you took about the education.
Yes.
What do you see as the bad parts of the education as a whole?
Actually, the negative side of our education system is that our system is geared to leave out a lot of people from the mainstream education. Why I am saying that is, Chanaka, now if you take advanced level examination, right, roughly about 275,000, it may change, but 275,000 children sit for advanced level exam. 25,000 children go to the local universities. And then there is another 25,000 children who receive private education. Maybe they do accountancy exams, IT exams, engineering exams through private institutes, right? So then we have another 225,000 children who come to the labor market as unskilled people, really. Unskilled labor. Of that, I think good 50,000 to 75,000 children end up driving three-wheelers, right? Then we have this 200,000 people, 200,000 young people who are left in the labor market as unskilled people. So we can't develop the country unless we have an educated workforce. Unless we educate our children, we cannot develop the country. No country can develop with uneducated workforce, really. So what we have to do is, we have to find a method to give these 200,000 people the opportunity to receive education. So for that, the government has to make an investment. I think if you take these 200,000 people, in my opinion, if you give 500,000 rupees to 100,000 students every year and tell them go and study somewhere, right? There is about 50 billion rupee. With 50 billion rupees, you can educate 100,000 children, right? I mean, that sort of a program has to be put in place. Now, if you give these children education, no matter, they may go and study even under trees. It doesn't really matter where they study, but there should be opportunity for education. And what I am saying is, when you do that, say you create a 50 billion rupee education income for education sector, education institutes who run operations in Colombo will go to Kurnagala. They will go to Matara, they will go to Ratnapura, they will go to Batiklo, they will go to Trincomalee, they will go to Jaffna. I mean, in these areas, if there are 10 centers that can be developed as education centers, there is at least about 5 billion business developing there. That's attractive business. Then children from the nearby villages will come to those centers and receive some education. They will eventually come as skilled people to the economy. And after about 7-8 years, they will become taxpayers. And that is how the economy can develop. So that is a main focus we have to have. And with that, we can stop these unskilled people going to the Middle East and other countries, Korea or Japan or wherever, going as unskilled people and doing unskilled jobs.
Basic domestics, no?
Yeah, and if you see our foreign income, on average, only about 50,000 rupees per month is sent back to Sri Lanka by these migrant workers. But if you send skilled people, this can triple. This can triple. And look at the opportunity we are missing out, really. And if you take, the amount of resources we are wasting on provincial councils and whole lot of other things, 50 billion allocation for education is easy. Is easy, really. I mean, if you can give 100 billion rupees to 200,000 children as 500,000 rupees per year and tell them go and study somewhere, receive education, come back and work. And that should be the way. Otherwise, we cannot develop this country.
Yes, quite right. Now, getting back to your first point, discipline. Where should the education system go from this point as you see?
No, actually, as far as discipline goes,
yes,
okay, we can create a disciplined society from a bottom-up approach.
Yes.
But I don't think it will be practical to do it bottom-up alone. It should be top-down as well. Because actually, one of the problems we have as far as children are concerned in this country, we don't have role models. We don't have role models in the society. And actually, the big people, I mean the elite, social elite, people look up to are also indisciplined, really. Right? So, when you have indisciplined social structure, it is very difficult for us to expect, right, a bottom-up approach of building discipline among people. So, but nevertheless, we have to inculcate discipline. In children at a tender age. But for that, even the elders should be disciplined really.
Definitely.
And actually, in my opinion, this indiscipline in elders has come from lack of implementation of law and order.
Right.
The legal system.
Yeah.
And legal system is not properly implemented. People do what they want, and that really breaks down to the lower levels of society.
Yes, it flows down.
And with that, the entire system breaks down. So, disciplined society cannot be built bottom-up approach really. It has to be top-down as well. Then only we can create a disciplined society.
It has to filter down, you mean?
Yeah, we have to filter it down really. Otherwise, we cannot build a disciplined society. Because otherwise, what happens is, children are taught, but what they see on the road, what they see outside, is a complete opposite of what they are
they've been taught to do.
So then how can you expect children to grow in a disciplined manner? You can't.
They will get depressed.
They'll get depressed.
They'll get
depressed.
They'll get very sad at the situation.
Yes.
Right. Now, when you talk of implementation of the law, the laws are already there.
Yes.
Whatever happens, we have a good set of laws.
Yes.
But the laws are more in the breach.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what has happened.
Yes.
So, where do you think they should start implementing the law and at what point?
No, actually, right now, say for example, our laws, I think, in my belief, are adequate.
Yes.
Adequate to build a disciplined country.
Yeah.
The problem is implementation. People don't implement without fear and favor. That is the problem. So actually that comes from the leadership of the country. I mean, let's not talk about that, right?
Yeah.
But finally, the leadership of the country has to give clear direction for people to implement law and order. Because what happens is, if you put a system in place, the system will take care of the law and order situation.
True.
There is no need for somebody to come and say, okay, do this, do that, do something else. The legal system should be independent enough. There should be independence in the legal system for the system itself to work.
Yes.
If you don't do that, no system can work. Because actually, I mean, in management, we say if there is management override, the systems don't work.
Yes.
So, I mean, what happens is, actually in
The
our
system
country,
must
at the
govern
highest level,
itself. Yes.
the
override.
systems are overridden really.
Right.
The legal system is overridden.
Right.
And when the system is overridden, the system breaks down.
Right.
Now, even in a private company, if the managing director and the higher management are overriding the system, then the system collapses really. So,
Right.
you have to create a situation where the leadership does not override the legal system.
Right.
Unfortunately, we have to talk about it, but that's the sad part. Yeah.
Yes. We are going in for a short break now. We will be back with Mahendra Jayasekara speaking on how the system, legally wise, and the laws should be implemented for the betterment of the country. We will be back soon. Welcome back, Mahendra.
Thank you.
Now, as we were discussing about the law and order and how they should be implemented, you were speaking of it should come from top down.
Yes.
Right? Can you tell me briefly, when you say we have a good system, our laws are okay, they are actually in the breach, where should this thing, when you say top, it has to start? What do you suggest?
No, actually, there is another point I have to say here. Now, the legal system, in the eyes of the people, has a few problems. One is that in this country, we have certain laws that are catering to specific groups of people,
Right.
communities, right? That also should be modified, right, refined. Because now we have Tesavalami law, Muslim law, Kandyan law and all these things, right, that confuses the people really.
Right.
Right, existence of different sets of laws for different groups of people confuse people, right? So that also has to be modified, and that can be modified by engaging respective communities, building dialogue, and anything to change should be done by maintaining the self-dignity of those communities. That is very, very important.
Yes,
otherwise, if one community tries to tell another community how they should live and how they should conduct themselves, that will not work, Chanaka. So basically, my point is, we have to do that. We have to engage in a dialogue and make sure that we come up with a solution maintaining the self-dignity of these communities.
Yes.
Once that is done, once we come up with a proper legal system, there may be fine-tuning necessary
Yes,
in
always,
certain
that's
cases.
always there,
Always, anything can be improved, everything can be improved. But thereafter, the leadership of the country should stop interfering with the legal system. That is the
main thing.
disciplined approach to leadership, really.
Right.
Disciplined approach to leadership. I mean, a good leader will not tinker with the legal system.
Right.
A good leader will not interfere with the legal system. So that is the leadership we have to create, and the people should put pressure to create that leadership, really. So once that is done, if the leadership is not interfering with the system, the legal system will take its own course, really. And then there will be discipline in society. People will know the law is equal. There are no different treatments for different people based on their social status or income or anything like that. Then only the country can progress, really.
Actually put straight fast.
Yes.
Very quickly.
That is very important.
Yes, because I mean, if the people start losing faith in the system,
Yes.
then next thing is they start taking the law into their own hands.
Yes.
Which I think
That is
is now happening now.
Yes.
Every day on the television, with the news flashes, we see these things happening in
Yes.
different, because they have no faith.
Yeah,
They have
exactly.
absolutely no faith of the legal or the system here.
Yes.
Right. The next thing is education. And education should actually, in my opinion, be for all, bar the age.
Yes.
Because the labor force is shrinking.
Yes.
New skills are needed.
Yes.
Right? And we have to keep changing. Otherwise, we have to open our gates for foreign workers to come in, which nobody likes.
Yes.
No country likes. They don't want their hole to go. The certain amount will be opened up, but why not educate the senior people or anyone who wants to reskill themselves? Why stick to the old system of having to go to a government university and other opportunity? What do you think of that? How could that be relaxed?
No, actually, there is one problem we have here.
Yes.
Now, look at our retirement age. If you retire at 55, you have another at least 10 years good work in you.
Yes.
So, you should be given that opportunity to work.
True.
Another 10 years,
10 years.
until 65, because actually in our organizations, we mostly keep our employees till 60 or beyond.
All right.
Because, I mean, that is their best year, because they have institutional memory, they have enough experience, and they have less family problems, really. They
Yes.
come to work.
Yes,
So,
that is
so that's very important, really. That is number one.
Very good.
And then the next thing is, there should be opportunities for them to educate themselves. Multi-skill. Right, multi-educational qualifications. Now, actually for that, what we have to do is, we have to open up, even through the state university system, we have to open up opportunities for them to go and receive education. That need not be given free. You can always charge, really. And actually the income you generate by educating adult workforce can be used to subsidize child education. So that is what has to be done. There should be a system in place to do that. And then what you can do is, even the companies, the employers can always tell their aging employees who are reaching the retirement age of 55, go and study something else, come back, we re-employ you.
Yeah.
Or you
That's
continue to work for us.
Yes.
But you have to undergo education in another area, and you have to be multi-skilled, and they are quite prepared to come and work, really. So aging population gives countries opportunities.
Yes.
Definitely, and we have to make use of that opportunity. But unfortunately, in our country, we haven't looked at that as a solution.
Yeah, because now in Australia, America, there is no retirement age.
Yeah.
I think Europe also.
Certain countries have their retirement age as 78, 76.
No, one of my
So
friend's
like that.
fathers passed away at 94.
Yeah.
He migrated. He migrated when he was 50.
Yeah.
And he was working till 90.
Yes, yeah,
Right?
sure.
So that means he has worked another 40 years
40
there.
years, yes, exactly.
Right? So I mean,
And
if he was here,
look at the pressure it puts on the public finance
yes,
as pension liability.
yes,
As pension liability.
Pension
So that
liability,
is also
medical,
a
all
huge
that is
burden
taken
on
off.
the system.
Yes.
Healthcare, it puts a lot of burden on the system.
then on
really.
the family that has to look after him if he
Yes,
has no income.
exactly.
He can't be thrown on the
Then it
road.
becomes a social problem. Really.
Then it becomes a social problem.
Yes, that's
if you want him to be someone of value, number one, his integrity and his self-respect must be intact.
Yes.
How do you think this particular issue can be addressed in this country?
Yes, no, actually what happens is when you re-employ retired staff,
Yes.
it has an impact on younger staff.
Okay.
Because they think the opportunities, promotional opportunities they have
Yeah.
get blocked.
Right.
Right? So that is one problem you have to handle.
Yeah.
Because you have to balance it in such a way that you don't demotivate your younger staff. And also give opportunities for older staff to come and work with you. Then what you can do is actually you can create, as your businesses grow, what you can do is basically you can look at horizontal placements for these retired employees. That's what we do,
that
really.
is true.
So then actually our younger people also work better because they know that at the retirement age, when they reach retirement age, the company will not forget them.
Very true. That's a mark of security for them.
Exactly. And then it becomes lifetime employment. If the employee is good, they are assured of lifetime employment in the company. So we have to promote that culture in the country.
Because that will also generate a lot of loyalty towards the company.
Definitely. Yes.
And like they won't get into issues. They will, like now there was a time where a son could inherit the job.
Yes.
Right? The old system, and certain companies had it. If you were okay, your son is assured. So the man was on his top behavior.
Yes.
He'd somehow put his son, and he knows the son would get it.
Yes.
Right? So now, of course, all bets are off. Right? I mean, it's like a free for all now. You don't know how to get into a job or get out of one. So what I would say is, shouldn't there be an initiative by the mercantile sector? I mean, they can show the way, government has to make its own laws.
Yes.
Right? Like what you suggested now, to extend retirements, to open things like that, shouldn't, I mean, be like perhaps a forum and you all discuss and take
No,
this off?
actually we have discussed this at many fora. Because earlier, even the private sector, they were asking for relaxed labor laws. And relaxation was sought in the areas of termination of employment. They wanted, actually the mercantile sector, the private sector wanted relaxed termination of employment opportunities, really.
Right.
Because they were saying, okay, hiring and firing should be given to the private sector, then only they can retain people, train people and increase productivity. But in my opinion, that theory is no longer valid.
Right.
Because hiring and firing for a company is not an option today. Because we are short of labor.
Short of labor,
We are short of labor. So when you hire, you can't be firing that employee. You have to somehow retain that employee. When you hire an employee, you have to make sure that he is given proper training and he is able to do the job, really. Because in my opinion, this demand for hiring and firing of employees is long gone, really. And with that, the private sector cannot go forward, really. Because today, I dread when I am about to lose an employee, because I know it is very difficult to recruit employees. Recruitment is a huge process, really. And then training them, because it takes time for them to adapt.
Yes.
So that's a long process. So, I mean, our focus should be to hire and to retain the man, really. Train
true.
and increase his productivity.
Yes.
Because today, Chanaka, people are not coming to work to meet their primary needs. They are not coming to work to improve their standard of living, because their grandparents have given them their primary needs. Their parents have given them the standard of living. But today, people come to work for quality of work.
Right.
They want to maintain a quality life. So you have to understand that perspective. I mean, our entire population is like that.
Yes.
Today, people need quality life.
Yes.
And of course, you have a lot of people who can't meet basic needs. That is a separate part. But then you have a lot of people in the labor market who come to the labor market to have a quality work, quality life. So you have to balance that, really.
So yeah, that is exactly what I was hoping to hear. How would you address that problem? How should that be addressed?
No, actually, that can be addressed. There are two things once again.
Yeah.
Once again, there are two things. I said there are a lot of people in our society, right, in our population, who find it extremely difficult to meet their basic needs.
Yes.
Now, say for example, we have 5.3 million households in this country.
Yes.
Right. 2.5 million, nearly 2.5 million are Samruddhi recipients.
Yes.
Right. So then you have to have a program to uplift their income.
Yes.
Which you can't do by giving subsidies. We have given subsidies to them for 40 years, but their income is
Still not
not
coming up,
increasing,
yes.
and they have not come out of that poverty trap.
Yes.
Right. One thing is that then that is through education. You educate children. No educated man is going to be trapped in a poverty trap, really.
Yes.
Right. Educated man cannot be poor, so he will come out of that poverty trap. Right. So you educate people. Then you bring them to the labor market as skilled employees.
Yeah.
Then from this side, you give them quality working environment, and make sure that even the elderly population is given opportunities to work through better education and better job opportunities. Then only the society and the country can be developed. Otherwise, you cannot develop this country.
I think we can end off on a very valuable thing you said. Educated man can't be poor.
Yeah.
I think that is something our viewers also can take away. We need a fresh input.
Yes.
We need a fresh view. We need fresh suggestions. And I hope our viewers will also benefit, as I did, from this discussion I had with you. Thank you.